everybody, Sean from Movie Assault here, and it's time once again for another video. This time around, it is the second in my Classic Movie Month series that I'm doing in the month of July of 2025, and this is where you guys get to vote on what I watch from my pile of classic movies in my collection that I haven't seen yet, and some of them are surprising some people that I haven't seen some of these movies. So keep voting when I post a poll. A new poll will be up actually a new poll is up right now as I'm making this video. But for the second week of July, you guys picked Harold and Maude from 1971, directed by Hal Ashby and starring Ruth Gordon and Bud Cort as the title characters, Harold and Maude. And as you can see on the cover, this pretty much sums up the movie. You've got a bunch of gravestones and a heart and the couple. And one thing I like about this edition, I don't have the Criterion version, I have this Paramount Presents version. It has a version of the movie poster inside the slipcover, and it says his hang-ups are hilarious, which is pretty truthful. And what that's dealing with, or what that's mentioning, is Harold has this hang-up with, or obsession with, death, and one of the hobbies, or actually two of the hobbies he has, are attending funerals for people he doesn't know and creating these sort of complex suicide situations, fake suicides, for the benefit of his mother, who increasingly doesn't seem to care too much about them. And at one of the funerals that he goes to, he meets Maude, who also shares an obsession with going to funerals, but for the completely different reason, or completely opposite reason, of Harold, because she likes to go to celebrate the life of the person who is being buried. Because, you know, at funerals, usually they recall the different things about somebody who's being buried. And she doesn't believe in dressing in black at a funeral. She goes wearing bright clothes. She carries a yellow umbrella, which actually is shown on the cover here. She's got the yellow umbrella. I don't think she goes to each funeral that we see her at with that, but at least one, it is prominently featured. Anyway, Harold and Maude strike up this sort of unique friendship where they sort of have this symbiotic relationship where they share things with one another and they kind of feed off each other's energy, mostly to the benefit of Harold, who really sort of needs a reason to keep on living. His mother is trying to set him up with dates, and he continues to stage these suicides or different scenarios for the benefit of his computer dates, which I think is hilarious for 1971. The way that the computer dates are presented is kind of hilarious. But they become friends, then they become more than that, and I can see why this movie wasn't a big hit when it first came out. It's sort of problematic in terms of when you explain what it's about. At first glance, it doesn't seem like a movie that's gonna be very entertaining. It's about a 19-year-old, 20-year-old man who hits it off with a 79-year-old woman, and they form a friendship and then later a romance, and that can seem kind of icky, for lack of a better word. But the pleasure of watching this movie is really derived from the situations that are in it, the dialogue, the performances of both Bud Cort and Ruth Gordon are phenomenal. Bud Cort is an actor that I wasn't really familiar with, although reading his credits, I've seen many movies that he's been in, but he never really struck me or as anybody of notice until this movie. And this is probably the role that he's the most famous for. Ruth Gordon, of course, has been in multiple things that I have seen before, most notably Rosemary's Baby, and I knew her as a kid from Every Which Way But Loose with Clint Eastwood. The direction by Hal Ashby, he also directed Being There, which is one of my top 4 films of all time, is just phenomenal. There's one particular scene visually, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but there is a fake suicide in the film that is sort of in the background as one of these dates appears and is meeting Harold's mom, and you see in the background it's an immolation scene where Harold pours gasoline all over himself, supposedly, and lights himself on fire, and it's just so friggin' hilarious. But if that type of humor doesn't strike you as funny, then this movie's probably going to be problematic for you. You have to have a certain sense of humor to find this movie funny, and it is an extremely dark comedy. The whole idea of a 19, 20-year-old man having a relationship with a 79-year-old woman also may be problematic for some people. I don't think this is a movie that would be made today, or could be made today. And the character of Maude is probably one of the biggest problems I have with the film, only because I didn't find the character, not the performance by Ruth Gordon, but the character to be as life-affirming as the film, I think, wants you, or the script wants you to feel her as. But the performance from Ruth Gordon does a lot to supplement that. So she makes up for where the character and the writing maybe doesn't really fill out that character. I think Ruth Gordon makes up for it. So Gordon is a delight. Bud Cort is a delight. There's even a little small role played by Tom Skerritt as a motorcycle cop. He's billed as M. Borman. You can look it up on IMDb as to why. That is actually pretty funny, especially if you're a fan of Tom Skerritt. So this is a movie that I really enjoyed. It's one of those movies that definitely would not be made today. But if you're of a certain sense of humor and you've got a certain worldview, I guess, you can see things through a certain lens, this is a great film. It became a cult classic after its first release. It's sort of been appreciated more since way after its release than immediately after its release, and I can see why. So Vivian Pickles is also of note. I don't want to leave her out. She plays Harold's mom. Sorry, my cat is rubbing against the tripod as she is wont to do. But Vivian Pickles plays Harold's mom, Mrs. Chasen, and she should have won some sort of award or been nominated for some sort of award because she is sort of the foundation of the neurosis of Harold's character. Great movie. I would give it a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed it on a first watch, and I'll definitely be watching it again. Highly recommended, and thank you very much for picking this for me to watch. I really enjoyed it. So vote in the next poll, which is currently online. I think I have Raging Bull, Training Day, and The Searchers up against each other. So pick from those three. So yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for picking this for me, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye. And take it easy.